I'd like to welcome everybody to our Tuesday, September 6th Township of Nipissing Council meeting. I'll ask first if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on to staff reports in no particular order. We'll start with Road Superintendent McGinnis. And I'll just let everybody go through it in case you haven't already. And if you have any questions for Dan, please ask.
Where do we send mattresses to be recycled?
Quebec. Yeah, they go to Montreal, go over to Montreal. So we fill the trucks here in the landfill and they truck them to their facilities in Quebec.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve and I were talking about this earlier, and I said it was on the agenda. So he said, when did that happen? Just like I asked you, when did this happen? While we were away apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my apologies. I told you a few things, but not everything.
This North Bay had a map for Steve or something.
Yeah.
$17 or something. They're all going up.
Yes.
Yeah, like 300 mattresses out of the landfill.
Wow, that's fantastic. Love it.
It's great. The museum, the park, the cemetery, everything looks really good.
It does, yes, it does.
It looks nice. So credit to your staff.
The applicants are applying for job.
Any other questions for Dan? Seeing none, we'll move on to John Paul Negrinati. Number one is on our tonight.
Did we get the Duncan Lake property sorted out?
Tonight we'll do the, for the mapping thing, so.
Didn't have any trouble, any phone trouble. Rest was out 2 or 3 days around, we were out at Elsas and Barrett Road for a couple of days. Or part of Elsas.
When I came back from holidays, or no, between the holidays, I had a day and the bell tower was very poor. A lot of my phone calls were going through. I don't know what that was all about.
Did you say that that corner of the Alsace and 522 or at?
Elsas EMS, the switching box at Elsas and 522, the problem with Barrett and Elsas. We were up for a couple of days again on the weekend.
Oh, okay. Because I know they were working on the switching box at Farley's Corner.
Yeah, well, a couple weeks ago, most of the rest of it came through, so
Yeah, I know. I was involved in that. I don't use that.
I did have a question.
Sure.
How many home bills did we have this year?
Oh, gosh. It's a usually about 50.
Really?
Usually we're around, it's
Really?
double or whatever.
Wow, that's
I give
fantastic.
you the exact number next week.
Well, when we were at AMO, I did sit in on the impact and they said that any new bills are still getting 2016 assessment. Still being assessed at the 2016 rate. So,
And I think, didn't they say that the next assessment?
yes, it will not be before 2023. So we're still good. And they didn't have a date, could go on longer.
And they did say that they were considering not involving this spike. They're calling it a spike.
Yeah,
They're not involving the spike in their overall plan. So
yeah. But with housing prices going down, that may be what they're waiting for.
Yeah.
That they'll level out again and then assess accordingly. I think that's-
think I got a notice saying we're coming. Yeah.
Did you put, no, they said,
I had a letter a couple months ago, said we have to be prepared, someone if you come, somebody's coming.
did you guys get a building permit or something, or?
No.
Oh,
They
that's
just said-
strange. You have an open one.
No, that's right.
Oh, okay. because they said.
And you have a building permit.
And you have an open one, well, that would be why.
And the other person I know of that had one recently had
Okay.
an open building permit.
Well, at least they'll only be looking at the 2016 rate, so you should be okay.
Okay.
Okay, so John Paul, thank you, and we'll move on to Township of Nipissing Fire Chief, CEMC, bylaw officer.
Tank one is, do they have to do work on the DEF system or they just bypass it?
They're bypassing it until they come out with a recall notice on how to fix it.
Oh, this is a common problem with them.
Apparently all trucks from 2018 to present.
It's just international. Nobody else has had it.
Okay.
Any questions for Chief Bateman?
I did have, do you want me, I had a couple of questions on the dog bylaw. Do you want me just to wait till we?
Yeah.
Okay. And Will, what is the IMS 200 training? What is
It's
that?
part of the emergency management training. That's to keep us in compliance.
Okay. So it says use our meeting to kind of put your heads together about volunteering. Have you met yet?
Yeah, we've been meeting quite a bit to see how we can do recruit training as a group.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Any good ideas?
yeah,
You're
Lots of good
getting
ideas.
there? Okay,
but we need some new recruits.
right.
How big an area are you going as far as
Uh,
South River?
South River,
Okay,
there's 7 departments.
okay, good. Government always likes it when we work together.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Will? So we'll move on. Kristen, I guess we'll discuss yours when we get to the newsletter. Was there anything else you wanted to mention? Or is,
I don't think so. I would work on that really.
okay. And Chris? Okay, well, we will go to committee reports and we'll start with Councillor Moore.
Well, we have a museum board meeting tomorrow. Steve could talk further on our last event at the museum. I was unable to attend. We did attend the emo conference. I talked a little bit about impact in the Bears Den. I was surprised that we both were surprised that there was no mention of the Airbnbs. But I did hear through the grapevine that there were a lot of delegate meetings that talked about that. So, and I did notice your email, Chris. I read through that from the
Who's Lynch?
yes. But I noticed that was dated 2015. Was there, could you not find anything new with that?
That's the one that we're being quoted.
Oh, is it okay? Because I suspect that there must be others since then. And
Cases, I would imagine.
yeah, we did sit with Pauline Rushford from East Ferris, and she told us to look at theirs, and we told her we were waiting to see what happens with it. So, but anyway, the conference was great. I think Steve quite enjoyed it, and he might have
The
already.
library contacts.
Oh, most important thing is somebody from Bell apparently was looking for me and wanted to let me know that they were bringing the fiber optics out here, but we've already heard that. Yeah, well, they want to he's got my contact info, the next day, the head guy came looking for me, showed us the map.
We got his contact info.
Yes, and he is going to, I said, oh, I'm not running this year, but he's going to try and contact me before the election. They want to come to the council and give a, so we are getting it. He said, could be next year, could be 2-4 years. He's not giving us a timeline. I said, well, that's not good. We need a timeline. If you're in Boston, we should be next. He goes, I agree. So I think if we push them, start giving them a little push, we might get it sooner than later. So that's it.
Any questions for Councillor Moore? Then go on to Councillor Marchant.
Yeah, I attended the Source Water Protection Board meeting, and they had there were a report from the, like, there is a committee that reports to the board, and of course phosphorus is still the big thing, but they're finding now that some of the septic beds, because of the movement through the soil, and I learned a new word, attenuated, which means decreased.
Oh,
We had to find that out in the report. It's decreased as it moves through the soil. So in some places, they're changing the setback from 120 to 60 meters. But they're still doing, well, they did over 1,000 inspections on septics through the area, well, the Wazi watershed primarily. And they only had one major defect. They had few minor ones, but a minor one might be just a cracked lid. They're finding what they are going through, and they're still worried about the blue-green algae from it. They're still, I think they're figuring there's not as much from the septics as they thought 5 years ago. But they're still worried about the fertilizers and livestock and that close to the Wazi Lake and rivers. So they will be sending their stuff to each municipality once they get some of the plans done. Like, we're not too bad, we're only in it because of the South River, not in the conservation sort of. But it's it was a good report, and it was interesting that they're doing research and checking that the phosphorus being caught in the soil as it goes through the ground. So we are working on it. And I gave Chris a copy, and everybody was impressed and see it.
Good. Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Marchant? We'll move on to Councillor Kirky.
All righty. The museum, I didn't get to go to the movie night because I was here doing we had a good turnout for the spaghetti dinner. Fire team that called away at short notice.
Fire.
Yes, so we were a little late getting out of here, and I think everybody was pretty tired by the time they left. So that's all I have for that. But also the library board is going to start meeting again on the 26th. I'll have something to do about that after that, I'm sure.
Good. And I didn't go to the movie night either because it was definitely past my bedtime, but was at the spaghetti supper, and it was really good. And I was there, I got mine to go, and you should warn about that because there was enough that we had 4 meals out of it. So, that was, and I said, not too much, So, and it was really good. And I think the market in Restoule supplied some of the stuff, and it was excellent, just excellent. So, good work for the fire department.
Well, Kristen was doing the cooking. Kristen and I believe her mother. Yeah, they were doing the cooking. So we knew that was going to probably be good, and it was. Shelley Foot with Shelley, the two Shelleys, Shelley
Yeah.
Foot and Shelley Bateman were serving, and yes, they have problems with portion control, but Shelley has problems with that down at the store too, so, and that's a good thing, so, you know,
It did, it was excellent, you know, and I didn't bid on anything at the silent auction because people would just be angry at me, but I did come for the last hour, 2 hours, so that I could outbid people, and I didn't. I was decent about that, but everything was good. People there moved the chairs back, cleaned up, and, you know, a fun time was had by all, I think.
I was able to, I was away on holiday and at a wedding for the movie nights today, but I did have a dinner
And,
at the
and
museum.
And the entertainment was, they were delightful, so good time had by all, for sure. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. So, and on to counselors.
No, you two guys took all. my-
Well,
Wonder away.
I have to really thank the rec committee, those that were here, that stood up and took charge when 5 of us walked out the door and left short-handed. Because most of us were here 1 o'clock, starting, getting ready, and then we got a call and we all left, and I can't thank, there's too many people to thank. You guys mentioned some, Kathy and her daughter, her granddaughter, Chris and her daughter showed up and worked. Stephanie, just too many people, and it sure made me feel good that I was able to carry on minus 5 people.
Great.
It's greatly appreciated.
good job. It was.
And they raised a fair amount of money for the park benches.
And what about movie night? What was the attendance there?
Apparently it was good. When I went to fuel up there, everybody was gone. I missed the whole thing.
We had quite a few there. Yeah, there had to be like no less than 200. I think it's
Fantastic.
like there was quite a few.
Great.
Oh, yeah. The trunk sale's coming on September the 10th. And I think it's close to the closing. So there, if you want to call in and reserve your spot, so to have your little yard sale, it's greatly appreciated. I believe we're getting close to 20 people gonna be in the park.
And I forgot to mention too, that the fall fair will be at the museum on that same day. So together, I think you should do okay. And again, I was going to put a booth in, but my daughter's birthday and we're going down south. I'm missing that again. Like my last year's the big for all.
and that's
Yeah,
all
they
I'm
can.
hearing at museums.
And that's this Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, okay, hi. Just East Home, new software, payroll software is being tested and while running a duplicate system. General ledger update, pay stubs going out by email versus real mail. They're going to work on a subledger for the residents. Computer equipment has arrived, but now need to procure software. Construction, and I don't know about us, but they're having great difficulty sourcing cameras. They probably need a couple more though. Second pay draw has been made for the construction, and actual construction has been halted. And I'll get to that. Staffing, increasing hours of care. They hope by March, they'll make the deadline. They're continuing to recruit and hire. Scheduling pressures due to staff illness, and here's the key, outbreak. East Home managed to go 2 years with 1 case, and that was in an employee. And then since Civic Holiday weekend, they've had over 100 cases and numerous deaths. And yes, and when the government took out all the mandates, you could go home for the weekend. And I hope this happens when I'm at East Home, when you go home for the weekend, all the family comes, the grandkids, everybody comes, you come back, and guess what? You have COVID, you know, and it's around the community now, like every place, north, the hospital, Water's Edge, everyone all have outbreaks, but it's not public anymore. It's, as the premier said, it's gonna happen, just let it happen. Unfortunately, in a vulnerable community, it's not as easy, but anyway, they hope that by today they hope that they could call the outbreak over, but they're waiting to see because they still have 100 windows to put in, and that's opening it up, and that'll be tough to do in September and November. So they've got to really get rolling now. But the construction company was excellent. They moved all, and it worked out. They went to all the schools that they had to get ready, and now the schools are open. Now they're all back. So we'll be able to get really rolling again. And the only other thing, Community Support Service, they made an application for federal funding for Age Well at Home program. And I thought this was perfect, but evidently I'm a little over the monetary cutoff, but that's for light housekeeping, home maintenance, which, you know, I thought would be great. And there's been an increase of funding for exercise classes. So those are the positives, and I hope today that it's declared over, but I didn't check in today to see. So not a good time, but evidently it's all over, and that's why Councillor Moore and I wore our masks today in the car. So any East Home questions? Okay, we'll move on to number 4 on our agenda, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. And I welcome the 2 of you back because I really overworked these 2 last time. You know, I had to jump in and do 2.
Yes, you have to do both for the accounts.
Yeah, I had to do that. And then I knew James wasn't gonna go for ending the meeting, so I had to put that one because he just wanted to stay. So we'll move on. The minutes of the council meeting. I need a mover and a second, please. I'll go with those 2 gentlemen. So Councillor Kirky, Councillor Scott.
Can you move them when you listen to it? I didn't think you could.
Maybe not. They can vote on them, but they can't.
You can vote, right. So Councillor March,
Yeah, I know, but I kind of reworked here.
thank you for pointing that out. And there you guys are working overtime again.
Yeah.
So it's number R 2022-163, moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Scott, that the minutes of the council meeting held August 16th, 2022 be adopted as published. All in favor? Carried. You know who's going to be getting the big one today. Okay, so as we move along, this part of our meeting is declared a public meeting pursuant to the provisions of section 34-12 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, to discuss an application for change to zoning bylaw 2020 by the Township of Nipissing and official plan changes. And what it is.
This is
first.
So the official plan change. So what this is we have a property that previously we thought was correct. To be honest, we have the deed, we've done all of our work, but it wasn't included in the mapping of our official plan or for our zoning bylaw. So this is a housekeeping item, so it's included in the map.
Okay, so a mover and a seconder. Okay, I'll give you the chance. Councillor Kirky and Councillor Moore. So it's number R 2022-164, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Moore, that we pass bylaw number 2022-40, being a bylaw to adopt amendment number 1 to the official plan for the Township of Nipissing, read a first, second, and third time, and pass this 6th day of September 2022. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Carried. And so, still on this, we have to do a zoning bylaw amendment again to, for the correction of the mapping schedules. And that again is this property on Duncan Lake that we weren't aware that it was ours. So a mover and the seconder, Councillor Martin and Councillor Scott. So it's number R 2022-165, moved by Councillor Marchant, seconded by Councillor Scott, that we pass bylaw number 2022-41, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2020 as amended, read a first, second, and third time, and passes 6th day of September 2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, number 6. This is a bylaw regulating the keeping and registration of dogs. Now, just from what I have, this is, they've looked at the neighboring townships, based this on Callender, Powassan, and neighboring. And there is little change in fees. Okay. But what they did talk to is Jim, our other bylaw enforcement officer, because Callender's has gone through this already. And he tried to go over the points that may be contentious. And one of them, and I talked to another counselor about this afternoon, on average, the largest number of dogs in our township is 4. So, and again, you'll look at this, that if you're in a designated area, whatever, and you want more dogs, then you can get a kennel license and have more dogs. Okay, so, and that was the thing was, why should we say how many dogs you can have? So again, I guess more.
In a more populated area, the more dogs that you have, more issues there may be. So when we looked at the records that we have, and the most that appears, the average would be 4 would be a top number. Most people have 2.
That would seem reasonable to me, but there are people that collect a lot of new dogs. So if they did put in for a kennel license, what are the restrictions? Are there rules and regulations to it?
Yeah, there has to be setbacks to the property line so that they're further from the neighbors to allow for.
So that is in properties not designated RU or in other properties. For instance,
like under certain zoning, see, like say you have a big rural lot, you'd have to have a step back of over 100 meters to have your actual location, you know.
But just in rural?
Just most, I think it's just in rural.
I think that's the only one that has the permitted uses, but most of our properties are rural. That would meet
yeah.
those.
So somebody say down on the lake had 5 dogs, not permitted?
Under this bylaw, they would be grandfathered for the 5. And then, because we're not insisting that anybody get rid of their dog, but upon the death of an animal, a 5th tag wouldn't be issued if they got another dog.
But I think in the area we're looking at would be rural.
Well, we have to be clear on that.
Yeah.
You have to be in the proper zoning to have the kennel.
Which is
And
already been passed through the zoning bylaw.
we only have 2 active kennels in the entire township.
But we could potentially have more active kennels under
If people
this.
apply for them, yes, we issue the permits, but they have to meet the specifications of the zoning in order to get it.
Mhm. So there is a lot size stipulation in this.
There's a
as well?
setback from the lot lines.
So kennels are only allowed in the rural zone and do need to be 150 meters back from any lot line.
150 meters.
That's already passed, so some
Yeah.
lots are too small, so you wouldn't be able to put a kennel on it.
I'm just wondering how people will react to it that aren't in an RU who have, you know,
According
exceed,
to our records for the licensed dogs that we have now,
oh yeah,
we shouldn't have any issues. That was what we used as a guide when we were going through.
So it was based on all the information that we have
Correct.
as now. And then, so going forward, then people know, if I'm gonna live on a subdivision like, I don't know, Pine Drive on the lake or something, you can't have a kennel there, and you can't have more than 6 dogs because they're all 100-foot lots. And there would be an issue. The one thing I liked in this is now the fees for dogs. It used to be,
$10 per dog.
and then it went up though for the number of
20,
dogs.
30, 40.
That's right.
It was complicated.
Yes, it was.
So now it's just one price for up to your 4 dogs.
Yes.
So,
oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, so
I-
that would give someone who has 4 dogs, for example, a cost savings. However, what we did put in was if you, dog licenses renew January 1st. But we give people until March 31st when their taxes are due to renew because it just makes it easier for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
And then after that, if they haven't renewed, then the tag price goes up. So it's an incentive to purchase your tag before the March 31st. And kennel licenses are $50 at this time. And I think with any additional, we would increase that to $75 for the costs of our animal control officer and the purchase of things.
those were, you had another question.
Well, I had a couple here.
Yeah.
First of all, under the definitions, are we still using an animal control officer other than our bylaw enforcement officers? Are we still
Yes,
using
because
the
we
one
need a
from
kennel.
Dawson?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, should we not have, I just found it a little confusing when I read it. Animal control officer under definitions includes a person. Should we not have a definition for the animal control officer and then including a person and then that line?
Okay.
Does that make sense or?
Yeah, I wondered about that too.
Yeah.
because
Well, our animal control officer is appointed under a different bylaw.
Yeah,
And then,
but we should have a definition for that animal control officer
you know,
and then include the person appointed by,
as appointed by.
Yes,
by
yeah,
bylaw.
yeah. Because it is definitions and we aren't,
because technically Sandy, our animal control
Yes.
officer, is a bylaw control
she
Of
would
sorts.
consider.
for animal.
Well, I'm just wondering why it says includes a person.
Because now we have fines that we could put on there, our bylaw enforcement officer, or municipal law enforcement officer.
Well, then I still think that should be separated then with the definition for it. Because she can't give fines, right?
No,
Yeah. And is she not the one that takes the dog away?
yes,
And so I just think that should be clarified, that definition, but I don't know.
How would you define that?
Well, it's described what her position is, she's a person appointed by council, that, I don't know if you want to describe it, but I mean,
that's where I'm lost too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could look at a legal definition up.
Her title, what would her title actually be? under
she's
the
our
bylaw?
animal control officer.
Yeah,
Animal control officer, so just has to be that or appointed by other bylaws or something like that.
Okay, so we can't pass this tonight then.
Okay. I did have one other thing. Oh, under part 14, vicious dog. So 14.2, where the animal control officer is informed upon written complaint. Now, I don't know, I think I mentioned this to Tom on the drive here, but I'm not sure that, that we need to add it, but I did hear of a recent incident where somebody was bit by a dog. They called the Humane Society. Humane Society said, we can't do anything unless there's been a police report. So,
When there is a dog by a municipal law enforcement officer goes and investigates and the healthy that's involved, if it's a dog bite per person.
well, they called the Humane Society,
So-
they didn't call your office.
The Humane Society won't do anything in township limits. It's not
No,
in their
they said,
jurisdiction.
oh, well, but they said they wouldn't do anything anyway unless the police.
That could be
Okay.
their
That could be their-
policy.
Okay, so I'm just, when I read it, it looked like, oh my God, somebody gets a bad bite and they have to fill out a form before they can put the complaint in. It looked unclear to me. I know, maybe I'm nitpicking, but
If there's a dog bite, usually the police are involved anyway,
yeah,
and
okay,
the health unit for sure.
okay.
But yeah, we can try and clean it up too.
Maybe just clean it up a little bit when you're doing the other one. That, yeah, they need to put that form in after the, yeah. There was the one more, I can't remember. No, I think that was everything. But I'm glad that you changed it because I looked through the old one. It was, we could shoot a dog on your property for shooting.
Between 6 and 6.
Yeah, like,
Couldn't do it during the day.
pretty old.
I do recall once where a dog was chasing my horse from another township, the dog was. I called OS and OPP and I asked them, what should I do? Because I was reporting to them. The lady on the other end, the police officer on the other end said, shoot him.
Yeah.
And that was all that was said. And you don't want to go over there.
Yeah. You probably knew whose dog it was. Did you?
Oh, I knew whose dog it
Yeah.
was, and I had told him numerous times to keep his dog in his own township. And he says, we don't have bylaw enforcement for our dogs, so my dog can go wherever he wants. That day,
Well, we do, so. But I still can't shoot it. Are there any other questions on that?
No, Chris already did my.
Yep.
comments, So.
We're gonna defer it because we have to
Yeah,
make
I
these
can't make changes right now.
corrections.
Sounds good.
So you may get some calls from some residents. Because there's some people waiting for us to have it. Effectively deal with issues.
Oh,
So, okay, so now we'll move on to number 7. The use of electronic devices. I need a mover and a seconder. I'm sure everybody's read this, and then I'll ask if there are any comments or questions after I get a mover and seconder. So Councilor Scott and Councilor Kirky. So it's number R 2022-166, moved by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Kirky. Whereas the Township of Nipissing has implemented the use of electronic devices with monitoring capabilities within the township, and therefore the Township of Nipissing Council adopts a utilization of electronic devices with monitoring capabilities policies. Any comments or questions? Councilor Kirky.
Are we putting monitors in our public vehicles?
We,
We have the ADL system in our vehicles.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay,
but
I wasn't aware
the
of that.
key is, it doesn't do voice. So none of
Just
our
video.
monitors monitor what you say. They're just watching you, what you do, whatever, you know?
Well, watching you, I was.
Watching in front of you.
Yes, in front of you in the truck.
Right, definitely.
And then when you come in to
We're
wherever,
really not that
they will
interesting.
be up there watching you enter and whatever.
Not
and-
inside the buildings either, they're all outside.
Yeah,
And there's no sound in none of the devices.
no sound, no
Okay.
recording, sound recordings.
Correct,
I know earlier where we had talked about maybe putting a monitor in the museum.
correct.
There's not a lot of room on her desk. I mean, how big is that?
We'll hang it off the
Oh,
wall.
okay. Because as I told you, we do lock the other buildings.
Yes,
They're always locked unless they're giving a tour and then it's
Yes.
locked when you after. Okay.
but numerous of times there's been people that popped in, they didn't even know that they were there.
Well, they
So it happens
in the building?
in buildings on the property.
Well, it shouldn't be
So,
happening because they're
it
supposed to be
happens.
locked.
If they're in the back, it happens.
Okay, all right.
So
Clean it up.
Yep, that'll clean it up for
We're
sure.
working in the garden. Okay, so any other questions? Because if not, I'll read it, we'll vote. Moved by councilors, number R 2022-166, moved by councilor Scott, seconded by councilor Kirkland. Whereas the township of Nipissing has implemented these electronic devices with monitoring capabilities for the township. Now therefore, the township of Nipissing Council adopts a utilization of electronic devices with monitoring capabilities policy. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one is the fall newsletter. Thanks to my good fortune, God blessing me, I'm able to be mayor for 4 more years because I was acclaimed. So that's why, if anybody wonders why I got to do a message and you didn't, other than Councilor Moore, everybody else would be pandering for votes. So this is the newsletter. Kristen's worked on it. I've gone through it on my phone and in person, and I think it is indeed lovely.
It's good. Thank you for mentioning me in your little spiel, Tom.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And
Anybody that put up with me for 12 years deserves.
I just noticed a couple of little things, and it's nothing, I mean, it's token pass on the winter road maintenance, you had 2 of those signs said the same thing, but that's fine. The blue and the orange one. I'm sorry, which one? The blue and the orange say the same thing, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't think it really matters, honestly. The other thing, okay, the other thing is on the conclusion of the mattress diversion, number 3, just the last sentence, so if you can recycle your mattress, it's the right thing to do. Then they have to recycle the mattress.
We're
Or is that
bringing it to
just
the
gen-
landfill and we're recycling it.
Yeah, okay, all right, so, okay.
Don't burn it or put it in the bush.
Oh, I get what you're saying, okay. I
Bring it on
didn't-
into us and we'll
I
take care
didn't
of
read
it for
between the
you.
lines that way, because I don't think that way, so.
So it makes sense
Okay,
now.
yeah, okay. And are we gonna take them all year, it doesn't say how, did it say once a year they'd be picked up? Or more?
Whenever we have a
We have them.
loan.
Oh, okay, so we don't really need to put a date on there?
No, no.
Okay. All right. That was all I need. But it looks great, Kristen, really good,
This was one of those spectacular.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Great. Okay,
I like the community safety zone.
mhm.
With the pictures. Apparently there was a teacher on his way to school this morning, clocked at 95 and 40.
Oh. Not yet.
He was walking for.
Have we heard anything from the MTO about the reducing the speed limit?
Along 654?
Yeah,
They had given us that response, but they were going to do studies. They haven't given us.
they haven't
anything
given
since
us,
then.
okay, I don't think. we
And same for highway fast.
Okay. I thought originally we read that they were coming this summer. I thought I read August somewhere.
We have nothing.
No, okay.
What was, did we put in the,
Yes,
yes, on the bottom
Yeah.
right? On the last page
Yeah.
for the winter road
Yes,
notice,
yes.
when we talked to OPP, they pointed out that they never had a call,
two. They've had two.
two calls about people speeding on the outside. Only two calls. So they said, you know, we haven't heard about it. So they said, if you have a complaint, just call this number. So
By
please,
the time they get up there,
Yeah.
the vehicle's gone for
But
hours.
still, if you call and advise them that it's happening,
Yeah.
then they know.
Yes.
Because
more-
we get tons of calls at our office, but there's nothing that we can do.
I think once we get our speed signs,
Yeah.
when we eventually get them,
Yes,
it has, it will target like if there's speed between 5 and 6 at night,
Yeah.
it'll show you that cluster, so we can take that to DOT
okay.
and say, here, people are speeding and they're going this fast.
The other thing is if you see the same car that's going by about the same time every day speeding, you can give them a description, the times, and they will look into it.
That's the same car that throws his beer can up in front of my place.
Yeah.
On 534 every day at the same time.
Wow.
Trying to make it reach with it.
Yep.
Yeah. I've got a whole loose box full of them now.
Wow, incredible.
there it is. So, did a great job, and if we just make that one will change or whatever, not a problem. So I need a mover and a seconder. Okay, Counselor. Moore and Counselor March. Number R 2022-167, moved by Counselor Moore, seconded by Counselor Marchant, that we approve the circulation of the fall 2020 newsletter as amended or as presented.
As presented.
Okay. Yeah, because we just have to take that out. All in favor? Carried. And next one, and I know we've all had animals. I had two, trying to think what I told you they were. Big birds, not blue herons. Two sandhill cranes jump in front of me, and one put its feet, when it flew up, its feet were on my hood. That's how close I was to digging in.
Wow.
Going through the Bruley.
They're a big bird.
Yep,
Wow.
going through the Bruley. I thought they'd fly the other way. Wrong. So I'll read this. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, and then I'll read. this.
I'll make the move to
Yes, Councillor Marchant. Brought this to our attention. A seconder, Councillor Curtis.
The Ontario Hydro does a good job on 522 of removing them. When you drive on it, you can really see something down the side where the hydro, the electrical line is. But when you look on the other side and the brush, it's right out into the ditch. And brush for years. Lots of understanding right there. So that's why I was in there with the electrical
Right.
transmission. They had mulchers out there last year.
Yeah, they did a big job up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ever since they put the line in from Docus, you know, that high tension line, they've really been maintaining it. So that's why it's just a non-electrical cement.
Right.
Well, anybody that drives on that road in the spring that does over 30 or 40 kilometers an hour. I mean, you can pet the deer as you're driving by, you know, like it's incredible.
Moose and bear.
Yeah, yeah, they're moving more into the area now too.
So it's number R 2022-168, moved by Councilor Marchand, seconded by Councilor Kirk. Whereas the instances of motor vehicle collision involving wildlife on Highway 522 have been increasing, and whereas the brushing and removal of trees and shrubs along the side of the highway where no electrical transmission lines are located has not been done. Now, therefore, we respectfully request the Ministry of Transportation to include this work in a regular work and budget schedule to increase the safety of the motoring public along the Highway 522 corridor. All in favor? Carried. Yep.
And then we send a copy to the local services board.
Do you have the contacts for them? Because we don't have anything to do with them. really, so.
I know one guy, but I don't know what his condition.
Like John Beatty happened sideways.
Gathered words on there. And stuff, so I'll see up in Hillary. Lord. Might add, if they went and did the same, you know, reverse that part of it might help.
So we'll go on to correspondence. And so 3 in here, and I read it over this morning, but just glanced. I did a bigger look this afternoon. So right now, AMO is working on the first 3 here. They're going to come up with recommendation on number 1, and that is the Strong Mayors Building Homes Act. Everybody agrees that there needs to be more homes built, and the government suggested 1.5 million. I'm gonna look again. A lot of homes, okay, and they're going to build them. There is some disagreement about the Strong Mayors, because right now they're looking at Ottawa and Toronto, where they have veto and they have the power to fire a CAO, fire department heads, and basically make up their own budget.
King.
So I think that's great, but
Also, that gives them veto in hiring as well.
yes,
Yeah,
They can-
firing and
I
They
re-
can unilaterally hire as well.
yes.
You know,
So as much faith as I know you have in me, I would not ever feel comfortable with that kind of power, and especially when you have a duly elected council, it's ridiculous. So this will, AMO is going to talk to them, and then it's going to come back around again. And we will, of course, agree with what AMO says, and they've come out clearly against this. And I don't know I have no idea why the premier even brought it up for Ottawa and Toronto, because every previous Toronto mayor has said, no, you can't do that. So, and I think we would be in agreement. So AMO has pointed this out, and we will, of course, support that. I know I have your support on that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, fellas, ladies. Okay. And then the other one was strengthening public health in Ontario now and for the future. And again, it's an information item right now because they're going back to discuss this again, and they need to. And AMO has some really good ideas, and their recommendations are 1 to 6 on the back page. And new funding starting in 22 is the last one is required to address the backlog of non-pandemic related public health services. I don't know if you were here. Recently, I had a referral, and it was from 2018. And I got it about a month ago. to see a orthopedic surgeon. So that's the backlog. And I'm lucky because, you know, I'm not in a walker, but what if you were 4 years ago? You'd be totally incapacitated by now. So AMO's gonna go with these recommendations, and I know it's an information item now, but we will support them, I'm sure. And the one thing the government will go back with is we need the feds to put in more money. You know? And they've already had that discussion, our premier has. So we will indeed see. And, but both, I'm sure we support. And then the other one was our 2021 annual report. And from the Boston District Union Public Library. And it comes along with, well, there's the annual report there, if anybody.
Yes, I know, one day was look, I kept.
Yours is here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've all got one, and just additionally, your township contributed 13.5% of our total revenues in 2021. What were we always arguing about? What's the percentage?
Oh,
I couldn't remember when I read it.
Between here at Chisholm.
Yeah.
It's usually 19.
Right,
we were, I think we were at 17, 19 was the last thing.
yeah, yeah.
Very
A
good.
1% change.
Yeah.
So right now, we're at 13, so
Wow.
it was a tight budget year, so
Yeah.
good work there. Councilor 13.
Yeah.
Well, I thought we were gonna get away with zero increase, but somebody insisted that we not use
Your
our reserve
surplus,
That's
fund.
right.
And instead, I think it was, what was it, a 1.6
Yeah,
increase
yeah.
that we give?
Yep.
Yeah, so,
and if that comes up to 13.9, this is still well under
Really
what,
good. Well,
really good,
yeah,
under
yeah.
what we
What we normally
expected in the
pay.
past, so it's great.
Mhm.
And, you know, I was gonna say, I like that correspondence, you know. Strong mayor.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you ever so much. So I need a mover and seconder to say we accept the correspondence, and we'll be making motions when that comes about. Yes, and I'm going to go with not a chance, I'm going with Councilor Scott and Councilor March. Thank you.
Oh, how
I
good.
tried
Yes,
this.
you did.
Yeah, you know, I'm
Almost
missing
tried
out,
too.
so that's okay.
Yes, you tried with enthusiasm. Number R 2022-169, moved by Councilor Scott, seconded by Councilor Marchant, to accept the correspondence as presented. All in favor? Carried. Okay, statement of accounts. Whoa. Okay, does anybody have any questions? I know Councilor Moore was up earlier. But any other questions? And again, appreciate it, Chris, when you
Yes,
point out what these are for.
saves us asking.
Yeah. Yep. And
I
if we,
always bring the entire file, so I always have all the answers and all of the documents at the backup. So if there's anything you'd ever like to
Because
see,
you
it's
had no
always there.
footnotes there, and you knew right away what they were.
and again, when you get all your package earlier, if you have any questions, get them into whatever department, get it to Chris, and she can look into it when you get it on Tuesday or Wednesday, or sometimes I get it a little later because I go in person to get it. But if you have any questions, anything you're not sure about, that's the way to go, and we had them all in here for this, so excellent. So are there any
The
questions?
policing, we just pay quarterly or something.
Monthly,
Monthly, so it's 0.6.
Lots.
I knew where to pay.
and it went down.
I knew from the budget it was a lot, but I just didn't do the math.
And it went down.
The 12.6 on, oh, that's on accounts receivable, so
That's money we'll get back.
yeah, okay. Okay, because I thought pulverizing of that was
One
considered-
half, well, our pulverizing bill also included the Birch Grove project plus our application
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
virtual on that. They did both of them.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I was kind of thrown me off when I saw.
And there's more than that in the accounts receivable line, because there were other bills that had to go out for different.
Right, okay.
Any other questions? All good questions. Okay, well, if not, Counselor Kirky, did I see your hand go up? Thank you. And Counselor Moore, thank you.
That was in the last meeting.
So it's number R 2022-170, moved by Counselor Kirky, seconded by Counselor Moore, that the statement of accounts dated August 18th, 19th, and 30th, September 1st and 6th, 2022, totaling $459,104.78 be approved. All in favor? Carried.
Notice Liz, you only put one finger. It's
It was hard to get the whole hand open,
40,000 instead of 400.
something like that. Tom.
It was still less than it was in last meeting. This
Yeah.
one.
Was it?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
These guys bore the load. Okay, now, we're confirming bylaw, so I need a mover and a seconder. Please, Counselor Marchant and Counselor Moore. So it's number R 2022-171, moved by Counselor Marchant, seconded by Counselor Moore, that we pass bylaw number 2022-43, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on September 6, 2022, read the first, second, and third time, and passed the 6th day of September 2022. All in favor? And the next one, the adjournment, a mover and a seconder, please. Counselor Scott and Counselor. Thank you. So it's number R 2022-172, moved by Counselor Scott, seconded by Counselor Kirky, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:34 on the clock on the wall. Next regular meeting to be held September 30th, September 20th, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And Councillor Moore pointed out the newsletter. I hope you all read that because that's heartfelt. I do appreciate everybody. Hard work, dedication. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye. And